Welcome, everyone. If you are a woman middle manager caught in that cycle of stress and pain, you are working so hard at your career, but it's literally sucking the life out of you, and you feel trapped and you can't figure out how can you get out of it, and it's literally your job is killing you. You definitely want to hear this episode with our amazing guest, Candice Cudanes. Hi, Candice.
Hello.
Let me tell them a little bit about you. I won't steal all of your thunder, but you absolutely know what it's like to work in middle management. You're kind of getting it from both angles and you're stressed, and it took a major toll on your health. Not just the exhaustion, the gut issues, the pain, but we'll get into all of that was taking you out. And I think a lot of people will be able to relate. But the good news is you got on the other side of it, and you are now the founder and CEO of Live Love 500, helping women middle managers who are stressed to the point of like debilitating pain become rejuvenated, get their energy back so they can do the work and live the life they love. So I love that. You've got lots of certifications. We won't go into all of it. You're a personal trainer, health coach, life coach. You've got your degree in exercise science. You live in Queens, New York. I just want to welcome you, and I just am eager to just dive right in and hear from you and have you share your brilliance and help these people get out of that awful cycle that they're in. So welcome, Candice.
Thank you, Dr. Shaunna, for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
I know I am too, because I really feel for people who are caught in that cycle. I think a lot of us feel like we're kind of middle management. We have people who are over us and have people who work for us. So we're kind of caught and getting it from both angles, even if they're parents and they have children and elderly parents, they're kind of caught there. So I think people really relate to that. We're going to dive into that a little bit. Before we get really into it, Live Love 500. What's the 500? Is that like Fortune 500? Where does that come from?
500 is a frequency of love on the David Hawkins emotional scale. It is one of the most powerful frequencies, and it is the frequency of love that is a healing energy.
Awesome. And you're all about healing and you're all about transformation. So I love it. So tell us, what is it that you do and how did this all come about? How did you go from where you were? You can tell us what you did, but go from there to this incredible work that you're doing now and transforming really so many lives. So tell us, what is it you do and how that happened?
Well, I help women middle managers just at the point of debilitating pain become rejuvenated and re-energized with the strength and stamina to do the work and live the life they love. Middle managers are caught in the middle. It's tough and it's a very lonely position. They have to navigate a web of demands from all directions and are under pressure for all kinds of results while meeting the needs of a diverse group of people. They answer to higher ups, they're leaders, they direct work, they do work, they own problems, they solve problems, and they are just stressed. Studies have shown that they're experiencing high levels of stress and burnout compared with other roles in organizations, and they are lacking the support and resources they need for their well-being to do the work well.
And that's your story, right? So middle management, what was it that you did?
I was a production manager for architectural hardware firm, manufacturing hardware firm in New York City. I excelled in my work, but at the cost of my health. The stress that accompanied that position did some serious damage. Within a year of starting, I developed a cough that lasted 9 months, which was acid reflux and postnasal drip. Within 2 years, I was diagnosed with high calcium levels, which was due to an enlarged parathyroid. And while I was getting all of that checked out, they found a nodule on my thyroid, and that ended up being a malignant. So I was also diagnosed with thyroid cancer. And I wasn't pretty much done with that because 6 months after that, I slipped 2 discs in my lower back. So I was pretty much in dire straits. I was holding on and I couldn't. And unbeknownst to me, I entered a cycle of stress and pain.
I often say, take a break or you're going to be given one.
Mm. Yeah, it ruled my life for
Yeah.
9 years, and my body felt so broken. It was broken, but I pushed myself to keep on going, and I went to work and I was doing life and I was suffering in silence. I hurt from head to toe. Even the slightest touch was very painful. I couldn't decide whether sitting standing was more comfortable for me. I walked with a limp. My worst days, I couldn't even walk. I couldn't get out of bed. Everything I ate upset my stomach. And I never left home without ibuprofen and acids, tire balm, or heating pads. My commutes to work were always, they were stressful because I would be standing there in a packed subway carrying all my bags, just like sweating and almost crying. And I'm like blinking away tears and I'm holding onto the pole and I'm having waves of pain shooting throughout my body, just praying that my legs wouldn't give out. And I visited so many doctors, therapists, physical therapists. I was prescribed all different types of medication, but I wasn't getting any relief from any of it. I even did changed my diet and did the exercise and did all the stretching, but there was no relief for me. So I was tired. I was so pissed off and tired of just being stressed and irritated all the time, being drained of energy, and just spending all the money and all these things. And I still was in pain, and it would just stay there or just get worse.
I just,
And
I'm picturing you on that subway, and I can imagine that. I'm reminded of myself when I was going to the hospital, working tertiary care hospital, 100 hours a week, one
mhm.
call the other. And I remember driving to work and just like my arms, like just holding that steering wheel. It's just felt so awful. It was like everything was like, no.
Like I still feel it. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And I think there's a lot of people who are listening in. And what you shared, that kind of like list of all of those, like crescendo of all of those symptoms that came and then boom. I think a lot of people do have those first few warning shots, the upset gut,
Definitely.
the blood,
Definitely.
digestion, the acid reflux. Okay, that
Hmm.
get your attention. Let's ante here, and then it just kept going more and more, and then boom, cancer, and boom, back pain, needing surgery. We're going to take you out. We're going to stop you. We're going to literally take the legs out from underneath you. And I think that's really powerful. And I think your message is always, don't wait for it to get that bad. Like heed those um, um, warning shots, if you will. But I'm picturing,
Right.
okay, so you're in pain. Okay, don't.
Mm.
And what happened? How did you get from that awful state where you're not leaving home without your bag of drugs and quite the entourage there, a heating pad and so on? How did you go from there to you're now thriving and uh, oh, before I just got to let I'm going to jump the gun a little bit and let our audience know. Now, the thing is, Candice still works her career. So
Mm.
a lot of you are like, oh, yeah, well, it's fine because she quit and she became a health coach. No, no, no. She's still in the trenches because she wants to be authentic. And she doesn't want you saying, well, it's easy for you. You got out of pain because, yeah, you quit your job. You got rid of the stress. So, yeah, no, she's still doing it because
Hmm.
changing all the time and she wants to be on that cutting edge and she knows the tools that work for her and so they'll work for you. So she'll tell you more about that in a minute, but I just want to say before you sort of dismiss her and say, well, it's fine because she's just hanging out at the yoga studio all day. Not the case here. That's not the case. So but what how did you get tell us the rest of the story. How did you go from fill in the blanks a little bit. You're in pain. Then what happened?
Then the pandemic hit, and the topic of health and the immunity and the morality was at the forefront. And for me, like many, it was a time out. It was a time for self-reflection and assessment. And I read a lot of self-help books and studied transformational stories. And, some transformational share their own personal stories of healing through their mindset works and what they did. And I want to learn all about the root cause and find the solution of my own suffering. So began my study in healing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I remember you mentioning, okay, so pandemic happens, and
Hmm.
opportunity, a little crack, a little window. You've had the warning shots. You've
Yep,
slow your roll a little bit because you just can't function. This is not working. You see people, it's serious now. Like, and a lot of people during I think they call it the Great Resignation,
exactly. Yes.
reevaluated their values, their priorities. Do I really want to do this job? Do I really want to spend or waste my life here? And some people stayed in their careers because they loved it, or they felt they had to. And sometimes people made a shift. Um,
Hmm.
did a hybrid, like you stayed in the career, but you also made a shift, like you also changed, like everything changed for you.
Correct.
So you're there, the pandemic has you reevaluate it. Then you're like, okay, I'm going in, I'm studying, I'm listening to people, I'm reading the books, I'm doing the courses, and that. So just tell us a little bit more about that shift that happened. Like, how do you go from where you are to like really turning it around, turning the ship around?
One of my favorite quotes from Reverend Dr. Michael Beckwith is, "We are pushed by pain until we're pulled by vision." And pretty much there I was, pushed by pain. Um, so the work with the visioning really started coming into form for me. According to the American Psychological Association, chronic stress is linked to six causes of death, which is heart disease, cancer, lung ailments, accidents, liver damage, and suicide. I experienced serious illness, and one of them was cancer. And I just kept on getting pushed and pushing. And I knew something needed to change because I couldn't accept that this was it. And if something didn't change, I would be just a statistic. So I made a decision to take back my life and become an advocate for my own health. I
Yeah,
questioned everything. I signed up for programs. I dreamed and I studied and I applied what I learned. And I became my own project. Um, and that was the most important decision. I
yeah,
learned that health and wellness is not just about working out and eating healthy, but they're integral parts.
yeah,
But it incorporates everything. Overall health incorporates functioning well in your career, relationships, and spirituality. So I adopted a holistic approach to healing that focused on all areas of my life, um, rather than focusing solely on my physical symptoms and ailments. And I started using my mind and body spirit connection and being pulled by the vision of what I would love in all areas of my life. And I was able to discover the most effective wellness routines for myself and heal.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, that is, I love that. I love that shift around. You've clearly got your energy back. I remember you mentioning an incident. So just to kind of show how far you've come, you had that your bag of never let out your Tiger Balm and your ibuprofen and your heating pad and all the rest of that to just kind of get through your day. Um, Share with everybody that pivotal moment that really showed you how far you'd come in this journey.
You know, the person I have become is completely different than I was 2 years ago. Initially, my coworkers would say that, I seem more calm and relaxed. And then I smiled more and I laughed more, and then my face glowed. and getting out of bed was no longer a problem, and my body was so much stronger and energetic and flexible. Um, and my life still had all these challenges, because the world is not perfect. We're still in a pandemic, sort of. Um, but I can function now and thrive regardless. I haven't had a massage in over a year. And recently I was at dinner with my brother and he asked if I had any Tylenol because I had a headache. And I was just like, no, sorry, I don't have any more because I don't need them.
Yeah. So I love that about your brother with it, and not carrying a Tylenol. So like going from, sometimes like the transition just happens bit by bit and you don't really
Mhm.
realize how far you've come.
Yeah. No.
Not being able to function without that to like thriving, having your energy back, rejuvenated, on point, being a leader, and then not even being Tylenol in hand for your brother, which would be different than your former self. So I love that. It's just kind of like a nice visual from that person who was struggling in the subway to where you are now. So is that, you getting on the other side of it, is that what had you become a health coach? Is that why you decided to do this?
Yes. Yes. I realize that every moment, every day is an opportunity for healing. We get to decide to be brave and be willing to take those steps, no matter how small, to move in the directions of our dreams. I found Live Love 500 while working as a middle manager, so I can help empower and support others who struggle just like me to become the healthiest versions of themselves, to do the work and live the love. I did a lot of study with so many programs, and I know how the lives and the work that middle managers have, like they're just so unsupported and they're so like stressed, and it spills out into the rest of their lives. And I just want to let them know that they can be healthy and improve their energy, stress, performance, even if they have the same day job. They
Yep.
can The transformation is really an inside job, but once you improve your inner world, the outer world improves too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you really need to make that decision first and become your own project. And then I am your project manager, just guiding you and limiting and like guiding them past their limiting beliefs and all their blind spots and dead ends and obstacles. And they can get out of pain and they can get their energy back and they can get back to doing the work and live the life they love.
I love that. And the thing is when somebody's stressed and then it causes inflammation and then that causes pain in the body. And then when they have the pain in the body and the illnesses, that causes stress. And then that could
Mhm.
caught in that loop. And when they're there, then they can get to where you were, where you're trying all the things. And you got so angry because it's not working and you can't figure out how to get out of it. And so I know you have a huge heart and compassion for people because like you lived it. But the other thing it's really unique about your story, and it's one of the things that um, well, it's one of the things I love about your story and who you are and how you're showing up is you're still working corporate. Um,
Right.
and a lot of people, as I was mentioning before, they'll just dismiss it but you have found a way to, because a lot of people, it's not just realistic for them to just go and quit and, sit on a mountain in the Himalayas and that's not practical. And yet, so they want to do their job. They need to keep a roof over their head. Maybe even they
Correct.
kind of the bigger mission of their job. They like having that role, but
Mhm.
want it to be at the expense of their well-being. And so I really like how you've been able to integrate that with people. So how is it that you work with clients? Like how does this work? How do you help them out, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, most of my clients are women middle managers who have high stress levels and are experiencing pain and are looking to reduce that stress, relieve their pain, and gain energy. That's a big one. So I walk them step by step from being stuck in a stress pain cycle to relaxation and rejuvenation, so they could do the work and live the life they love. Um, we work very closely together, and I only work with a small number of people at a time. We work virtually, so it's easy for them to incorporate into their busy day because I get how much time you don't have. And there's plenty of accountability and support, and I work on that amazing project that is them. And we get them unstuck and out of that awful, awful stress pain cycle. And we get them to that dream come true that they've always wanted for themselves.
Yeah, I love it. Love it. That sounds really good. And I get that when you're living it, you understand their challenges, their time stresses and things, and to be able to make it work anyways, it's fantastic. My favorite question to ask is, what is the biggest myth that you see when it comes to health coaching? These women middle managers break free from that stress pain cycle that you mentioned, so that they're not ruining their health and ruining their lives as they try to do their job, that they can
Mhm.
they love and live the life they love. So what's the biggest myth?
Guaranteed quick results, that the changes can be made quick and easy. Um, Health coaching is not a quick fix solution. It focuses on sustainable behavior and lifestyle changes and long-term improvements rather than the fast temporary results. This doesn't mean that there won't be positive results when working with a health coach. There definitely will be, and you'll see it, and you'll feel it. But it is a process and it is a progression towards a goal. Everyone is different. They all have different dreams and things they want to accomplish, and they are the highest authority of their life. Some may progress faster, some may progress slower. So, you know, allowing themselves that time and patience is key. And my job as a health coach is to help clients get clear on what they would love and stay on track towards their goal so they get results. And the getting results is great, but it is who they become in the process that is absolutely golden. My life changed when I made that decision years ago to become my own project. And now I help others who feel trapped in that stress pain cycle and work on what's most important project, which is themselves, so they can get back to doing the work and what they love, live the
Yeah,
life they love.
I love it. I mean, you talk about um, everything changed when you made that decision. It was a decision you made. Why is decision so important?
Ooh, when you decide for a dream, any dream, of what you would love, there's a part of you that says, yes, I'm doing this thing. And then there's that other part that says, like, yeah, no, that's not happening. That's crazy. How are you going to do that? There is a gap between where you are now and where you want to be. And you have to bridge that gap and navigate that gap. And in that gap, there's fear, and there's lots and lots of it. I hear people say to overcome it, but I don't think that ever really happens because the fear never really goes away. It keeps you safe in a comfort zone, operating off of old patterns of thinking. So instead of overcoming, befriend your fear. You can have fear, but you don't have to let the fear have you. It's easier said than done, but I want to share a story. Back then, my body had been through so much. It was broken, it was jangled, it was awful. And the moment I decided to take back my life and become an advocate for my own health and invest in my first year-long program, part of me was like, hell yes, I'm doing this, I'm gonna heal myself. But that other part, so it was January of 2021, and there was a big snowstorm in New York, and there was no heat in my apartment. So I'm like sitting there freezing and like hurting all over. And I'm filling out all my information. And I'm all proud and I'm doing this thing. And I was sitting and staring at the submit payment button, and my stomach started getting all in knots. And then my head started getting all hot. And then I just started violently shaking. And my knees and hands were like, and every time I tried to hit that mouse button, I just couldn't. Uh, Later on, I would learn I was in DEFCON 1, and that's when a sense of fear and anxiety sets in, often with physical symptoms that can lead to just giving up. I tried 4 times to hit that button, and finally, on the fifth attempt, I just closed my eyes and took a deep breath, and I hit the button because stress and pain had me, but I wasn't about to let fear have me too. So as you go forward in your life and you decide for something you would love and you start thinking of all the reasons of why you can't or why it's a bad idea, or if you find yourself in DEFCON 1, you have to lean into and tap into that part of you that says, yes, I would love this. And learn to act in your best interest, even when afraid, because it's worth it. You're worth it and your dreams are worth it. Just remember to befriend your fear, because what's inside of you is far more powerful than any circumstances you'll be facing.
Love all of that. Love all of that, Candice. As kind of somebody once said, I don't even know who it was, but feel the fear and do it anyways. And there's a movie called We Bought a Zoo, and with Matt Damon starred in it.
Mm,
There's a line, and it's like all you need is like 20 seconds of insane courage. And I still remember that line. It was years ago that that movie came out, and I'm like, it's like that 20 seconds of insane courage to just like, and I really feel like it's that same thing, to just do it anyways and not let, you're already trapped by the stress and the pain. Don't let the fear trap you further, because through that doorway, when you take that 20 seconds and you go through with insane
mhm.
through, and you might embarrass yourself, and you might, it might be crazy and it might be awkward, but you move forward, you move out of that's how you break out of that cycle. And
Exactly.
all of that so beautifully. So there's going to be people who are listening to this who are in pain,
Mm,
who have a lot of stress, and maybe it's manifesting in other ways, gut issues or so on.
mhm.
What are some tips that you can share with them that they could start to incorporate, even like right now? Like, how can they get improvement? What are some tips that you can share?
I'll share three. Number one, drink your water. Water is vital to our health. It's key in many of our body functions, such as bringing nutrients to cells, getting rid of waste, protecting our joints and organs, and maintaining body temperature. It should almost always be your go-to beverage, and so aim to drink half your body weight in ounces of water per day. Number one. Number two, breathe. When stressed, breaths are fast and shallow and originates from the chest, which tightens up your entire upper body. So you'll feel in your shoulders and your neck. Um, People who are in pain tend to hold their breath during flare-ups. So if they have shooting pains, they just sort of tighten up, and then they just don't breathe. So take your breaks, take slow, deep belly breath throughout the day. And, when I started my breathing practices throughout the day, I would practice breathing when I went to the bathroom, relieving myself. So it's just all releasing. Um,
You're doing anyway, so it's a good time.
it's a reminder. And number three is practice mindfulness and develop awareness. So you just start noticing what you're noticing what you're thinking, um, noticing where you're placing your attention. Notice your reaction, your body's reaction to what it is you are thinking, because if you're thinking something, your body's either going to contract or to expand. So if you're in expansion, you might feel a little bit more open, you might get like a little jolt of energy. Or if you're in contraction, what used to be really, really painful will start hurting more, or other things will just tighten up and you'll just feel worse. So if that ever happens, just take deep breaths and drink your water.
I love it. What about somebody so those are excellent. Thank you for that. What about someone who's like, some of those are like really great, like ongoing preventative and mate
Mhm.
and helpful, and it does help you kind of in the longer term get those sustainable results, which is like really what we're after, rather than a band-aid. But what about somebody who's like in pain right now? Like, so what could they do right now?
Breathe. Breath is so important because people hold stress and pain in their body. Like, so when you have very sharp pains, your body is your nervous system is haywire. Everything is shooting, all firing, and all you really want to do in that moment is give your body a chance to relax. So breathing, every single time it's just, you kind of take your deep breath, focus on that area of pain and just let it release, a couple of times a day, just to allow your body to relax so it's not firing on all cylinders constantly.
So let's say their shoulders a pain
Mm.
and they take a breath, you breathe. Are you breathing into it? Are you breathing and focusing on a different part of your body? Are you focusing on the breath coming through your nostrils so that you're not focusing on your shoulder? Any like tips that way?
Well, the thing is that your pain, once you're in pain, all your attention is there.
Yes, right.
All of it's going to be directed right there.
Yeah,
So, it's the conscious effort, and it will take practice to just stop and take a breath and relax that shoulder out because your focus is already on your shoulder. So it's sort of like you take the breath and just relax the shoulder out. Just give it an opportunity to relax, and you are in control of that
love it. That
through
makes
your breath.
Yeah, I get with that. And if anybody has questions for Candice, by the way, pop them in the comments and she'll get them. And so one of the questions I love to ask is about spin-off benefits. So you're working
Mhm.
helping them get out of pain, you're helping them to get out of stress and break free of that cycle. And I know all the time with health coaches, there's some like I call it collateral beauty, some other spin-off benefits that happen as a result that you didn't expect to happen. Any examples that you can share of spin-off benefits you've seen with your clients?
Yeah, one of my clients came to me because of stress, and she noticed that she just had less stressful interactions at work. Instead of getting frustrated with her coworkers, she realized that that frustration was not helping. So, you know, the perception of stress, that repatterning of thoughts helped um, with all of those relationships at work, and she was able to improve her work relationships immensely. Um, Greater ideas started flowing for her, and having initiatives in her career that she put forth. Um, and she was so much more confident in presenting them, because it's almost like her dreams started to flourish out on what she wanted to do in her career. So it took her to a whole nother level.
Yeah, because
And
like if you're stressed and you're frustrated and you're angry, and then like you're not liking these people you're working with, you're like
no,
on them or they're hating you, and it's very that's that contraction state you were talking about before, right? Your body contracts,
yeah,
contract, everything kind of shrinks in. So then you're saying as you helped her improve her stress, improve her own pain, and that, so she's not in as much pain, she's not in as much stress. Now
mm-mm,
her relationships are better, the mood, the air, the atmosphere is better, and then she's now got more confidence. She can think clearly because she
mm-hmm,
can think clearly. She can get those great ideas. She can voice those great ideas. She has more confidence. She's more empowered. Work improves.
correct.
Yeah,
And
phenomenal.
it doesn't even stop there. Like she had weight loss. She lost like 15 pounds over 6 months. And one of the greatest things is like she actually is a type 1 diabetic. And with the work with the stress, her blood sugar levels improved and all her labs, her A1C improved. It was amazing. So she's doing so well.
Yeah, so you wouldn't have been even trying to help with her blood sugar, and then to help,
Mm-mm.
that's huge. And weight loss. I mean, that's the thing. When you lighten up, you lighten up.
Yeah.
Emotional.
Full body, everything. Yes.
So good, so good. Yeah, it's really nice to get into a different cycle, a different spiral, have things, getting on a roll instead of having it hit the fan instead. So I love it. Well, I have loved this conversation with you, Candice, and
Me too.
lots of information. We've just barely scratched the surface on what you do and who you are. Where can people find you if they want to hear more about you, what you do, ask you questions, any of that kind of thing?
They can find me on my website at livelove500.com. And they can also find me in LinkedIn. So just Candice Cudanes, and my page is there, and Love Life 500 is page there too. So you can question me also.
Awesome. So Candice Cudanes is so Candice
Mm-hmm.
and Cudanes.
Yes,
Cudanes.
correct.
Awesome. Well, it was an absolute pleasure to chat with you. If you have questions or comments, pop them below. If you have them for Candice, absolutely reach out to her. If there was something that you particularly enjoyed about this, or if there's something that we didn't touch on, pop it in the comments. We're always looking for experts to answer your questions on how you can be good for you, how you can take your health and life to that next level. And I just want to thank our guest. Thank you, Candice, for being here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shaunna. I really enjoyed this.
My pleasure. Well, that's it for this episode. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe and share it with somebody who might be going through pain, and they might be trapped in that stress pain cycle. And potentially this can be of assistance for them, because we're all in this together. So with that, have a fantastic week, everybody, and be good for you.